Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
The time to rise has been engaged. We're better, best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest work song, the finest hour.
Hello and welcome to Thursday afternoon. The week is flying by. There's a lot going on again today. Lots to talk about. Lots of people to talk to. Thank you for being here on Columbo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. I am Tony Columbo in studio with producer Emily, and I can say your name, right? We can tell people you're here. Yeah, no? Well, we got another producer here also. That I just put on the spot. But there you go. We've got also a packed show today. We are going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler about some of the national news and the latest developments when it comes to the Donald Trump administration. We are also going to talk to Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory, our very own congressman here in the state of Missouri, Eric Burleson, who has been on the show many times. Also, Nate Lucas, who is in the is part of Congressman Burlens's team. Also a regular on the show here, making national news regarding Second Amendment rights. And we are going to talk to Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. He is our Second Amendment expert here on the show. So want to, fill you in on what is happening there. A national story that has a very strong local connection and obviously a lot of impact potentially on Second Amendment rights of Americans across the country. So we're going to talk to Aaron Tarlow about that situation and more a little bit later on this hour. Also, Missouri Rep. Justin Sparks, who's running for Speaker of the House, is going to join us in just a few minutes. And we're starting the show. I'm telling you, it's busy today. We're starting the show with our buddy Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com. Crane, on a wild day, brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
Big hug, big squeeze. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Let's start with the biggest headline of the day, nationally at least. Matt Gaetz, former Florida representative and Trump nominee for Attorney General, announced earlier today that he is withdrawing as Trump's pick for that position, citing what he described as the distraction his nomination has caused due to a swirl of allegations about paying underage women for sex. Of course, there is a ethics investigation going on surrounding Matt Gaetz. He's a bit of a lightning rod, anyway. So there's always controversy sort of surrounding Matt Gaetz. This was I think maybe out of all the picks, and I'm telling you, this has been a news-making administration that Donald Trump is building with people like Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, all of these names. But I think that even throughout all that, Matt Gaetz has probably been the most controversial or the most the pick that stirred things up the most. And now here we are 8 days after Trump's announcement, and Matt Gaetz has already resigned from the United States House of Representatives. He is stepping down from this nomination process. What are your thoughts about this?
I am elated
Yeah.
that he has stepped down because he wasn't qualified. He's a bomb thrower. And that was proven in the way he went about McCarthy and voting with the Democrats to remove him. The idea is that he wasn't qualified and he was reckless. That's not what you need at the Department of Justice today. We need accountability, And we need the restoration of our Constitution, absolutely, and to make sure we get rid of this lawfare thing that has been going on, which the Dems have been doing to the Republicans, specifically with Donald J. Trump. And so we need to look at that, and we need to look at being equal under the law and restoring that for all Americans, both Republicans and Democrats. Now, the sex scandal stuff, salacious details have been leaked, etc., and it's just stomach turning.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had his day in court.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't know if he's guilty or innocent, but he gets the presumption of innocence beforehand. The reason I couldn't go with that because I didn't have the evidence, and we just don't know. Yet I could go with the fact that he's terribly inexperienced and he's reckless. And quite frankly, he hasn't shown leadership capabilities. He's shown abilities to be a celebrity lawmaker without making laws.
Yeah, he knows how to, he definitely knows how to create drama and headlines and attention. Very good at that. He made a statement, Matt Gaetz, today when announcing that he was stepping down as Trump's nominee, for AG. Gaetz' statement said, quote, "While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one." So, yeah, that's all true. What you just described is accurate, is 100% accurate, but also not new. So this investigation into his alleged behavior has been underway for a while, and obviously his reputation precedes him as being a very polarizing figure within his own party. So everybody knew that this would be a distraction. So stepping down because you're a distraction seems to be like exactly what you would have predicted would have happened. And if we all know that that's what would have happened, then of course they know that this was going to be polarizing and controversial and cause a lot of division. And so I don't know. I just doesn't something. There's something else there.
You're asking
in my mind. There has to be.
What's in the mind of Trump?
There has to be something else there. It can't just be that he's a distraction, because we all knew this would be a circus around Matt Gaetz. So that can't, in my mind, there's got to be more to the story.
There was always a story about President Trump, and the policy became whoever spoke to him last. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is always true. Even if it is true, it's not always true. I mean, the man thinks for himself. He knows what he's doing. I get it. But there was a time where his chief of staff wasn't available and Gaetz got to Trump. That's the story behind the scenes. Now, could it be true? I have no idea. But he made that snap decision, and then he put in Gaetz. It was a really bad decision. And I think it hurt everybody. It hurt Gaetz. It hurt Trump. It also unsettled the American people, because we're going in and you're saying, okay, the chief law enforcement officer is not going to be Trey Gowdy or Ted Cruz or Jonathan Turley. It's going to be
Matt Gaetz,
a guy who's known for blowing up the house.
Yeah.
Figuratively speaking, as you know, with the
no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. This restarts the conversation. You just said a bunch of names right there, Crane, about who will be the AG, and I'll never forget the Matt Gaetz being that announcement being made that he was being nominated as AG, because it happened a couple of Wednesdays ago when we were talking to Rodney Boyd. I was in the middle of a conversation with Rodney Boyd who is the most plugged in
Here,
Missouri politics insider
Yes.
that you can find. I mean, there is nobody that is more engaged and knowledgeable about Missouri politics than Rodney Boyd. And we were in the middle of a conversation about Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey being considered, because there was headlines out that morning that our AG was on the short list for that Trump position. And Rodney was mid explanation, mid discussion about what potential impact that would have on the state of Missouri and that office here and all of that. And I had to cut him off and say, Rodney, we don't got to talk about this anymore because this just came across the screen. I mean, we were literally in the middle of that conversation. So here we go again. As this has unfolded already, the conversation has restarted about who could now be Trump's AG. And once again, Andrew Bailey is on that list. In fact, a couple of the articles that I read today seem to focus on Andrew Bailey. And I'm not talking about just local news sources either, like around the state of Missouri, although I read plenty of those as well. But some of the national reporting would go on to say things like the short list includes former White House attorney Mark Paletta, who served during Trump's first team, and then also Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who was tagged. And then like every one of these articles seemed to spend way more time sort of educating the reader and giving the credentials and resume of Andrew Bailey when they were listing these possible candidates now. So I don't know, just the way I read it, it seemed like the media was giving a lot of attention to our Attorney General Andrew Bailey.
Bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a story that's going to be, something that could have major impact on the state of Missouri. And of course, Andrew Bailey just won his election a couple weeks ago on election day overwhelmingly. So the people of Missouri love Andrew Bailey, and he could be heading to Washington,
have a good
DC.
history in my mind. The man of the year I used to nominate for man of the year because it had to deal with the Missouri on Donnybrook was John Ashcroft, and I did it twice because I love John Ashcroft.
So yeah, this could be this another national story that could have some major local impact as well. Crane, we only have a couple minutes left. This is not fair to ask you this in such short term, but we have such a busy show today. We got to get to everything as quickly as we can. I was thinking of you yesterday as the latest news broke about the war in Ukraine, the United States switching policy about missile use, the mines that are now being supplied to Ukrainian forces. It seems like that war is escalating, not showing signs of ending. Where do you stand? You've been a very staunch supporter of Ukraine. That does not waver as this is continued. This ramping up is continued.
It's been hamstrung by, and not to interrupt you, I apologize.
No, please. Please.
But the idea has been it has been hamstrung by the Biden administration. I've been for it, but I believe in winning wars. And the fact is, what he did to him militarily was slow walk the resources they needed to achieve victory. Right now, it's about getting Putin to the table and coming up with an agreement. The only way you're going to do that is go on the offense and take care of business and really drive Putin to the table, because Putin's sitting there and Putin's not going away. Just so you know, he's not going away, and he has designs to restore the former Soviet Union. That's what his dream is. And he looks at himself as a historical figure that way. He's also a psychopathic murderer, and he deserves no quarter in the United States of support, because if you look at him, people say, I'm against Ukraine money. Why are we spending it there, not here? Look, we have the budget within the military, and it comes to about 7 to 10% of our military budget, which is, I think, very good to degrade one of our major enemies. Plus, we are sending the signal to China because they're watching our behavior when it comes to Taiwan. Do I think Biden has done it effectively? No, he has done it. He has sucked at it. Pardon me.
Yeah.
But that's what he's done, and he's put the Ukrainians in a bad way. Zelensky is a good man. Klitschko and other leaders in the Ukraine are fighting for their lives, and it's the right cause, but it's also a cause that we need to support because it does directly impact our national security. Europe obviously needs to do more, and they continue to do more through NATO. NATO countries in Europe supposedly are getting together. There was a paper on this. I don't have it before me. Gary Kasparov mentioned it. He may have been one of the people, but they're talking about having Europe and Canada, for that matter, do more in the sense of supporting the Ukraine. Okay. Mm-hmm. So please understand, I recognize our resources are limited, but we need to defend Ukraine because what we're defending is Poland.
Joe Biden has sucked at a lot of things. Crane Durham is the exact opposite. He is the man from nothingbutTruth.com. Crane, thank you, as always, for your time this afternoon. And we will talk to you again very, very soon, my friend. Check out Crane's stuff at nothingbutTruth.com and the Nothing But Truth Facebook page. And, of course, he's a regular here with us on Columbo and Company. All right, we're going to continue the conversation. Switch it to some local issues. Missouri State Representative Justin Sparks is preparing for the next legislative session and has begun his bid to become the next Speaker of the House in the state of Missouri. We are going to talk to Representative Sparks next here on Columbo and Company.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
Chris Arps here, and I'm thankful for my relationship with Christ, my wonderful wife, Becky, and the opportunity to speak to the great listeners of News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Columbo, and as we approach another holiday season, I am thankful that my family continues to be happy and healthy. Oh, and I'm also glad I don't work for George Soros.
News Talk STL, celebrating family and friends this season of Thanksgiving. Brought to you by Mobile Magic Auto Body, Blue Sky Apparel and Promotions, and Super Smokers Barbecue.
The Walner Home Selling Team is the number one home selling team in the St. Louis area. The Walner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway is selling 15 times more homes per year than a typical home seller. They have so many qualified buyers right now that they guarantee to get you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so they can help you wherever you are in the St. Louis area. But all of that stuff out of the way. I mean, that's that reputation is fantastic. But I'm telling you from personal experience, sit down with the Walners one time. If you're thinking about selling your home, talk to Rodney and Jen. They will talk, go over with you what they think they can do for you, how much they think they can get for your home, how fast they think they can sell it. And I think you, like Christine and I, will be ready to go and motivated and excited to be working with the Walners going forward. That's exactly how we were, and they absolutely over-delivered every step of the way when we were working with Rodney and Jen Walner, the Walner Home Selling Team. A few years ago when we were selling our old home and buying our new home, and there's been some changes in the market since we went through that process, but one thing that hasn't changed, it is still on the seller's side. It's still very much a seller's market. So if you have been thinking about selling your home but are afraid that the window of opportunity has closed, it has not. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. If this is something you've been thinking about, call the Walner Home Selling Team now. Call them at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD for the Walner Home Selling Team.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Don't miss this year's Moolah Festival of Trees with over 40 gorgeous trees and gifts all decked out to knock you out. Your family won't believe the fabulous gifts, decorated trees, and you can win the tree and all the gifts for just $1. November 23rd to November 30th at the fabulous Moolah Shrine. Meet Santa, get your photo taken, and while you're there, visit the Kris Kringle Cafe for some sweet treats and wonderful food. Trees and gifts valued from $500 to over $10,000. The Festival of Trees at the Moolah Shrine.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Tim Jones here. I am beyond thankful this Thanksgiving season for God, family, friends, country, and all of you in News Talk STL Nation.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and for this Thanksgiving season, I'm most thankful for good health for everyone, my family, my friends, and you.
News Talk STL, celebrating family and friends this season of Thanksgiving. Brought to you by DG Firearms in Bowling Green, Hometown Floors, and St. Louis Pizza and Wings.
Welcome back to Columbo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. A packed Thursday afternoon with a whole lot to talk about. Big thanks to Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com for being with us in that last segment. Also, as I mentioned earlier, the state of Missouri is at the center of some national headlines today, actually for multiple reasons. We talked about Attorney General Andrew Bailey once again being on the short list to become Trump's Attorney General now that Matt Gaetz has stepped down. Also, U.S. Representative Eric Burlison from Missouri has introduced a new bill, the Repeal the NFA Act, big Second Amendment fight that the Missouri congressman is taking to Washington, D.C. We are going to talk to our Second Amendment expert, Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory, in about 15 minutes and get his thoughts on that issue. So very much looking forward to that. And right now, joining us on the line is Missouri Representative Justin Sparks. Justin, as I mentioned before the break, you are not only preparing for the next legislative session, you are also, just over a week into your run for Missouri Speaker of the House. Any regrets? I know that's a joke, obviously, but this has been a wild ride, and we're just getting started with this run for yourself. So give us an update. What's been going on in the last week?
Yeah, Tony, I never regret doing the right thing. Because
well said.
It always feels good, no matter what the consequences are. And sometimes there are consequences. You know, this is really pretty simple. A lot of people are very upset on the Republican side because the same battle that we're having here in Missouri is the same battle that is happening in states around the country and what has happened on the federal level. And here's what I mean by that. This is not about the party. So I'm being accused because I've put my name in the hat to be Speaker of the House instead of a liberal speaker. You could even call him establishment, maybe. He's one of the most moderate members we have in the entire House, has demonstrated his willingness to block legislation, which is, of course, why I lost confidence in him and why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And as a side note, what I'm talking about for the listeners that need to be brought up to speed on this.
Yeah, which is, I'm sure that's part of this whole thing, by the way.
Of course.
Is just educating Missouri voters on what's been going on behind the scenes for years and years in Jeff City. So there's a big, there's a lot of information that people need to know about, which is part of this conversation, which makes it even more difficult as as you're trying to get your message out there, because everybody wants to know why, and there's a very big and good reason why. But it's a lot, and it's a lot to explain all at once. So so please continue.
Well, of course, in a nutshell, after he received the informal nomination to be the speaker is when kind of his true colors came out, and he blocked HJR 131 and told people don't gather signatures and don't even speak about it, which would have put a competing question on the ballot to defeat Amendment 3. Okay, that's all it would have done. It just put a question on the ballot that Missourians could then have a choice. They don't have to vote for Amendment 3 alone or not. They could vote for Amendment 3 or Amendment 4. And by the way, this strategy proved successful in other states where the most radical abortion amendments failed because the people were given an option. We had a path for this in the Senate. I had these discussions with John Patterson. He blocked it. It's why I lost confidence in him. It's why I don't have confidence in him to lead our caucus forward. If we don't do something and change direction right now, we are going to lose our supermajority because the people don't care about Democrat or Republican. From knocking on doors, they don't give a hoot about the party. In fact, Tony, I had to set up my own online pay portal because people wouldn't donate to my campaign if it was going through the Republican Party platform, WinRed.
Wow.
Like, they literally did not want even a tiny percentage of their donation going to the Republican Party because they had lost so much confidence in the Republican Party. But they had confidence in me that I was going to do what they wanted me to do, and that's what I intend to do.
Yeah, and that is very encouraging to hear, because I mean, we've talked about this, you and I, and I've had this conversation with others over the last, a whole lot over the last couple months, but literally over the last several years, about how much damage the Republican Party as a party has done to itself in the state of Missouri. Luckily for that party, voters have still supported the Republican candidates, but we continue to be frustrated extremely year after year by decisions being made by certain members of the Republican Party in the state of Missouri, specifically, at least recently, leadership positions that have stalled all of these conservative policies and bills that have been, overwhelmingly supported by those Republican voters that put all of these people in office. I would imagine that you have heard two statements a lot in the last couple of weeks. One being, it's about time. I'm so glad somebody's doing this. And probably with an internal, like, I'm glad it's not me, as they're saying that to you. And then the other statement would be, what are you doing? You're just making things worse. You're creating division within the party.
Yeah.
Have those two things been what you've heard the most, and which one have you heard more than the other?
Yeah, no, I've heard them both over and over and over again. In fact, we had a winter caucus meeting yesterday with a lot of Republicans. Not everybody was there, but a lot were there, in which I got to say my piece. I explained why I'm doing what I'm doing and the timing, right? And people spoke up and they said, I agree with you in principle, but I disagree with the timing. Other people kind of just glossed over the fact that Patterson had blocked pro-life legislation, that he was, in fact, partly responsible for the fact that Amendment 3 passed, not only for voting against initiative petition reform, but also blocking HJR 131. I mean, they kind of just were like, just kind of ignored that, because, listen, it's hard to go up against the presumptive speaker because he's got so much power. That's part of the problem, right? We have to decentralize that power. We have to change the rules, and many representatives understand that. But then it's like they lined up a bunch of their friends, John's friends, to speak against me. And they all had the same talking points. It was predictable. But what I was encouraged by was so many members reaching out to me afterwards saying, number one, I apologize. I should have tried to speak out for you. Some did, and they just didn't call on those people. And then they said, and also, hey, I am in complete support of you. And not only that, I'll make a public endorsement if you want me to. Now, after going to a caucus meeting and watching all those people line up and call me names and attack my character and my motivations, they wanted to stand up publicly with me no matter the consequences. Let me tell you something, man, that will humble you when somebody will do that for you and they're like, I don't care. It is the right thing to do. And it made me just resolute in the fact that, yes, this is worth doing because nothing will change unless we do these things. That's the spirit of the founders of our country. They even risk their lives because they're like, no more. Line in the sand. We must do this. We're compelled to do this. We're going to see it through.
I will never fault or be angry or hold against any politician that is doing what they think is right. I may disagree with them and we may debate, the issue, but I just don't understand the idea of I'm going to sit this one out. Even though I believe on one side or the other, and and I know how much consequence this have, I just don't want to get any of this on me. That thought process just makes absolutely no sense to me because you're literally elected to do a job. It is your job to do what the people sent you there to do. So I will never ever fault a politician for making an unpopular decision if they truly believe that it is, the right thing to do and they are representing their constituents with that. So that is very good to hear that you're getting some of that support. We're talking to Missouri State Representative Justin Sparks, who is running for Speaker of the House. The timing concern, I've heard that a lot from people too when I've talked about this run and this this situation with the Speaker of the House in Missouri, oh, it's just a bad time to do this. Justin, when's a good time? When's a good, like that, a good, like it's always busy. It's like, oh, this is not the time, we're getting ready for a legislative session and there's a lot of work to be done for the people of Missouri. And this isn't time for that distraction. It's always that busy. It's all like, so I just, the time is now always, and it's never a good time, but it's always the only time to move forward. My thoughts, your thoughts.
No, you're exactly right. It's so funny because they try desperately clinging and making up some of these rationales, but because they don't want to really talk about the real reason they're opposed or they don't want to do this because it's a conscience vote. It really is. And they don't want to talk about the fact that they're getting texts and emails and people calling them saying, what in the world would you vote for this guy for? He clearly is liberal. He clearly has gone against all of our priorities. Why in the world would you do that? You have a guy who's pledging to you to do all the things we want him to do and what you want to do. You believe this way too. You vote this way. Why in the world are you doing this? And it's hard for them. And so what I tell people is when you're calling these representatives, that's awesome, right? Hold them accountable. That's what you should be doing. You should have these conversations with them. But don't call them names and don't be disrespectful. I never advocate for that. Instead, tell them that you're going to be with them. Lift them up, support them, say, representative, I get it. You're in that system. You think that you're going to be, like whatever, you've made agreements or whatever it is. I don't really care. I want you to do this because it's the right thing to do. And not only that, I will support you. I will be with you. I'll knock doors for you. I'll raise money for you. We won't let you get mistreated. We're with you. Turn aside, change the direction. Do what the people want you to do. Be responsive to the people because they want Republicans to finally deliver in this state. And it will never happen if we keep doing the same thing every single election cycle and electing leadership that is committed against our priorities.
What's one of the fascinating parts of this, and you've actually touched on this, and the more you think about it, and if you really look into the two, it is crazy just how similar this situation with you running for Speaker of the House in Missouri is to the recent vote in the United States Senate for the next majority leader. And in one part of that specifically that I wanted to highlight and get your thoughts on is that you mentioned, this is a system that's been in place for a long time. There's a lot of money and there's a lot of promises involved in a system that is that entrenched in a capital. And that's a very difficult thing to undo. And we just saw in the United States Senate, we saw on the heels of an election that was overwhelming, all the momentum is on the Trump side. You know, the Trump team is just riding high, and just can't go wrong, and they're making all their endorsements. He's putting his team together, but when it came time to vote and it came time to for that system to make a decision, the Trump candidate didn't even come close. Right. And the entrenched politicians and sort of the guy who was quote unquote next in line, whose turn it was, is going to be the majority leader. I'm not saying that is a horrible thing. I'm just saying that there's a lot of similarities in that, in these two situations. So how can you do what Rick Scott couldn't do in the United States Senate and undo this system that's so entrenched in Jeff City?
Yeah, I mean, great point, because the parallels are eerie, aren't they?
They really are.
Yeah, Rick Scott did not lose because it was the other guy's turn, and it was just the line of progression. Right. That's not why he lost. He lost because the other guy raised a lot of money for senators. That's the real reason. Oh yeah. And it's the same. And it's the same in Jefferson City. Where do you think we got this model? The DC model. We got it from them. That's why we do it this way. And it is all about money. And I know everybody hates that conversation, but it is real. And when somebody raises a lot of money for you and they get it, you have to ask yourself, where's that money coming from? What donors? What special interests? Right? What are you going to be expected to do for those special interests and donors? Right? Well, when that money comes in, it does affect your behavior. I'm sorry, that is real. It does happen. You do feel the pressure. And, when you have somebody like a Josh Hawley actually articulate that, he actually said it. I'm not speculating. I'm using his own statement. Why, when everybody said, why in the world are you, endorsing this guy who has like a 35% rating in terms of conservatism? And Josh, you're supposed to be conservative. And he said, well, this guy raised a lot of money for me and spent a lot of money on my campaign. I mean, he was just completely honest, which I appreciate the honesty. I just think that he's 100% wrong. Mm-hmm. But he's articulating something, which is you feel beholden in some way. You feel obligated sometimes. And in fact, that's been some of the criticism to me. People have said that, in fact, in caucus yesterday, it was brought up how much money John Patterson has raised and helped Republicans. And what I like to say is, okay, great, guys. You raised a lot of money. Republicans get elected to do what? To walk around Jefferson City with representative behind your name and never pass any of the Republican priorities? To be a gigantic supermajority that allows Amendment 3 to pass? What are we doing? This is a joke.
Yeah.
Why are we even here? I don't need the title, guys.
Yeah.
This is not my life. This is not my fulfillment. I'm here to serve. And that's genuinely where my heart is.
And Missouri voters, Republican Missouri voters, are sick of feeling frustrated and confused at the end of every legislative session, wondering why, sports betting didn't get resolved, why IP reform didn't get resolved, why we're still debating and talking about some of the same Second Amendment issues that we've been talking about for years in the state of Missouri. People are sick of it. And, they, and like you said, the Republican Party has benefited from Missourians supporting Republican candidates, and it has kept this party in its supermajority and kept it in power for so long. But the voters, everybody in the Republican Party in the state of Missouri is running out of goodwill with the voters, I believe. So something's got to change, and that's why I think this is such an important discussion. Justin Sparks, Missouri State Representative, running for Speaker of the House. As always, really appreciate your time. Look forward to catching up with you again very soon. In the meantime, remind people where they can get more information and learn more about your bid to become Speaker.
Sure, of course, Justin M. Sparks on X, Justin Sparks on Facebook, Sparks for Missouri Instagram, and sparksformissouri.com. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, you bet. Great stuff there. Missouri State Representative Justin Sparks. Really important stuff and great conversation. All right. It is a news-filled Thursday afternoon. We are going to talk about another Missouri Republican, Missouri U.S. Representative Eric Burleson, who has been on the show many times. He has introduced his first bill as a member of the United States Congress, and it is the Repeal the NFA Act, the National Firearms Act. A big push to protect Second Amendment rights across the country coming from the Missouri congressman. We are going to talk to our Second Amendment expert, Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory, joins us to talk about this situation next on Columbo and Company.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Larry Connors, USA.
The very latest efforts to get Matt Gaetz seated as Attorney General. That battle and many more coming up.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Somehow we are getting close to the end of the month of November. I cannot believe how fast time is flying, but there is still some time left this month to take advantage of a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res, the team that can clean any surface in your home better than anyone else. And I can speak to that from personal experience. The team at Zero Res has bailed out our home, rescued our house so many times when it comes to furniture cleaning, carpet cleaning, obviously, tile, air ducts. They do it all at Zero Res. And like I mentioned, they have a great special for the month of November. The holiday season is upon us, and the team at Zero Res know how important it is that your home be clean and healthy for your friends and family and all of the upcoming holiday gatherings. So they have an offer for you in the month of November. If you book a cleaning with Zero Res and mention my name, the Columbo Special, when you book that cleaning, you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Absolutely amazing offer at the perfect time of year. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, which is amazing. And you can also take $75 off that air duct cleaning if you would like that service as well. Again, all you have to do is book in the month of November and mention the Columbo Special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forwards or backwards. It spells the same, Zero Res.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton. This hour of Columbo and Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Welcome back to Columbo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Big thanks to Missouri State Representative Justin Sparks for joining us in that last segment. Rolling along here, we now have on the line with us our old friend, Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. Aaron, a lot of Second Amendment stuff to talk about nationally and locally, and kind of a combination of the two. We'll get into the specifics here in just a second, but this is the first time that we've talked in a couple weeks. How are you feeling? And how have things been, particularly since the election, and we've watched Donald Trump kind of build his team? How are you guys feeling there at Southern Armory about the future and about the strength of the Second Amendment now that that there's been a change in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I can't wait for the Department of Efficiency.
Yeah, amen. Amen.
And realize that we're doing a bunch of silly things with enforcement, like changing the 4473 multiple times in years.
Yeah.
And multiple times across years, as in plural years. So sometimes it changes every other year. But there was a few times where it changed like 2 or 3 times in a year. And that's recent memory.
Right.
Along with them, making rules and reneging on rules and modifying the rules that they just reneged on to make it fit because there was an objection somewhere.
Yeah, and going after assault rifles and going after magazines and arm braces.
Stocks.
Yeah, and bump stocks.
Arm braces and force reset triggers. And then I think eventually they're going to say, what is this NFA thing? Oh, wait a minute. It's an additional tax.
Yes.
On things that are already legal to own. And it's like, okay. And then they're going to realize that at one point it was taking, 18 or more months to get it approved. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
It's already legal. And in some countries, they're not even regulated items, like a suppressor.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so I think there's going to be some changes, probably a lot of positive changes, especially if federally they get some of these state bans knocked down where people can't own certain firearms or they have to be on a list. We're talking specifically California, Illinois, New York will really energize that population and allow those gun dealers to finally get the stuff people have been asking for. Suppressors have been banned in many states as well. And the same thing there, if the federal government says, no, states, you don't get to regulate the Second Amendment, that is specifically delegated to the federal government. And they're legal to own, so you have to allow your citizens to own them. I think that will energize a lot of stuff too.
So I mentioned earlier, perfect day to have Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory on as the state of Missouri making some national news regarding the Second Amendment, as United States Congressman from the state of Missouri, Eric Burleson, who's been on this show before, a good friend of the show and the station, has introduced his first bill as a member of Congress, and it is the Repeal the NFA Act, the National Firearms Act. Yeah. The act, as you mentioned, first put into law in 1930.
Complete coincidence, by the way.
Yeah. To impose limitations on firearm ownership. It requires Americans to pay a $200 tax, register, and undergo an application process to own certain firearms and accessories, as Aaron was just highlighting. Burleson's office released a statement saying, quote, "For decades, unelected bureaucrats have attempted to use the NFA to impose new regulations on gun owners without congressional approval. This month, the ATF published a rule to reclassify firearms with pistol braces as short barrel rifles, meaning millions of law-abiding Americans will become felons unless they submit to the NFA's unconstitutional tax and registration scheme."
Has been the ATF's like wet dream now.
Yeah.
For a lot of years. Okay. I believe that pistol braces came in under Obama. So kind of do your math on that. You had 45 for 4 years, a horrible 4 years under 46. So we're talking about something that's been around for 10 years or more.
So is this something that that you think is overdue and something that is something that you would support? And I think we've talked to you, and you're very good friends with the folks at Missouri Firearms Coalition and Aaron Dorr and his team. And Aaron Dorr has been working with Eric Burleson's office on this issue as well. You can hear Aaron every Sunday night here on News Talk STL on Shall Not Be Infringed. So this seems to be something that is not only being supported by the Second Amendment community, but people are actively working to get this accomplished. Do you think the right thing to do by Congressman Burleson, and something that it would be key to protecting Second Amendment rights for Americans?
So I guess you have kind of a 35,000 foot view and understand this has been introduced before under like the Hearing Protection Act and the Sportsman's Act, and now repeal the NFA. And repeal the NFA has really been a tagline for, I want to say, as long as I can really remember. We opened the store in 2010.
Yeah.
But so it's been tried, it's failed. They've attached it to other bills, and it's been cut out. And so is it long overdue? Absolutely. Is it an inefficient process that infringes upon our rights? And yes, on both accounts. And honestly, it's just silly. I mean, like I can't describe it any other way. Other than it's an inefficient use of resources, and the ATF constantly reclassifying things to try to get people to register their firearms on a national list. Also, doesn't work. It didn't work with bump fire stocks. They repealed that, and saying it was essentially made things automatic, and so you couldn't own it. And it got repealed, and then nobody's making them, but magically they're popping back up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people didn't abide by what they considered to be an unconstitutional rule. Mm-hmm. So the ATF is over and over and over again, without the oversight of Congress, is a very, very accurate thing to state. Tried to regulate firearms and turn things into felonies where there's really nothing there. And they are unelected bureaucrats.
Yeah,
so
and
at a certain point,
it boils down to it's another example of government overreach. And again, ties
100%.
back into what we said at the very beginning about the Department of Government Efficiency and why something like that is so overdue. We're talking to Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. He is going to stick around with us to continue the conversation. I got a little bit more from Congressman Eric Burleson that I want to read to everybody and get your reactions to. Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory sticking around, and we will also be joined by Dr. Randy Tobler. He will join the conversation with Aaron and I next here on Columbo and Company.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Cleathermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
Honesty, integrity, humility, purpose. We're looking for people that share these values. As an officer in the Springfield, Missouri Police Department, you'll train in a state-of-the-art facility, learn special skills, and most importantly, learn that being humble through it all builds a better community. Our next training academy starts soon. Work hard and dedicate yourself to the craft, and I promise you'll have some amazing opportunities. Visit gospd.com for more information. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now! KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow has tested a new intermediate-range missile in a strike on Ukraine, and that it could use the weapon against countries that have allowed Kyiv to use their missiles to strike Russia. Putin said during a nationwide TV address that the Russian strike on the central Ukrainian city of Dnipro came in response to Ukrainian strikes on Russian territory this week that used U.S. and British longer-range missiles. Former Congressman Matt Gaetz has withdrawn as President-elect Trump's pick for Attorney General. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has that report.
In a social media announcement, Gaetz said he was taking his name out of the running because he said his confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction. The selection of Gaetz was controversial from the beginning, given allegations of sexual misconduct that have been investigated by the Justice Department and Congress. Several Senate Republicans had expressed doubts about his confirmation. Gaetz's withdrawal is a setback to Trump's push to install steadfast loyalists in his incoming administration. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, big travel numbers are expected at the nation's airports for the Thanksgiving holiday. Shelley Adler has more.
It seems new travel records are being set every year since the pandemic, and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg expects that trend to continue for Thanksgiving.
If recent experience is any guide, these will likely be some of the busiest travel days in U.S. history.
AAA is expecting over 5.5 million people to fly domestically this holiday. That's an increase of 2% compared to last year. I'm Shelley Adler.
And on Wall Street, stocks finished higher. The Dow was up 461 points. The NASDAQ Composite gained 6 points. More at townhall.com.
Hi, this is Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Gift giving occurs year-round, whether for birthdays, holidays, or a special expression of thanks to your best clients and customers. Of course, you want to show your love and gratitude, but you also want to give a gift that provides a positive image of you and your organization. Solaire infrared grills from BestHotGrill.com are both practical and unforgettable. Made in the USA, Solaire has a grill for most budgets, but more importantly, Solaire delivers the wow that everybody likes to receive in a gift. Impressive out of the box, and even more so in use, the Solaire infrared grills are the gift of value that will build relationships. With every great tasting, juicy meal enjoyed from their Solaire, they'll think of you. Step up your gift giving. Learn more about the amazing Solaire infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com. That's BestHotGrill.com. Best Hot Grill.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
For the first time in a long time, we're talking about the wind chill today. My forecast high of 45 this afternoon. That's going to be the coldest in St. Louis since March. But on top of that, strong west to northwest winds with wind chills this morning in the 20s into the 30s this afternoon. Morning clouds will make way for mostly sunny skies this afternoon. The blustery winds continue tonight, down to 35 for the low with some clouds. Those winds finally ease tomorrow, but still chilly. Friday's high at 48. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shea.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Fox News commentary.
The verdict is in. Illegal alien Jose Ibarra will serve life in prison without parole for the brutal murder of Laken Riley. I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Served, an Athens Clark County judge found Jose Ibarra, an illegal alien from Venezuela, guilty of 10 total counts, including malice and felony murder in the brutal death of Laken Riley. He will serve life in prison without the possibility of parole, though many Americans would have liked to see the death penalty. While Ibarra was found guilty, nothing will bring back Laken Riley. Her death was entirely preventable. Jose Ibarra should have never been here in the first place. And let us not gloss over the fact that some Democrats are still patting themselves on the back for policies that shield criminal illegal aliens like Jose Ibarra. It really makes you wonder how many Jose Ibarras are still roaming free in the shadows of our country and in our communities. Joe Biden and his entire administration failed Laken Riley, her family, and every American citizen. Thank goodness for incoming border czar Tom Holman. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
You will never understand it 'cause it happens so fast. And it feels so good, it's like walking the glass. It's so cool, so hip, it's alright. It's so groovy, it's out of sight. You can touch it, smell it, taste it so sweet. But it makes no difference 'cause
I know we're on the air. I'm just singing. Welcome back to Columbo and Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Lots of company today. Lots of company on with us right now. Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory is sticking around. We just talked to Aaron in that last segment about Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson's announcement today of his first bill as a member of the United States Congress, the Repeal the NFA Act. And we are also bringing Dr. Randy Tobler from the Randy Tobler Show Saturday mornings here on News Talk STL into the conversation as well. Doc, busy news day, but I'm a big Second Amendment guy, and I'm really proud of Congressman Burleson, who is a friend of the show, a friend of the station, somebody that we've all talked to multiple times. Taking the fight to Washington D.C. to defend the Second Amendment rights of Americans. You're how are you doing today, Doc?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling really good today because Matt Gaetz stepped down. Yeah. I mean, pretty much whatever you were going to throw at me, it doesn't matter. It's a good day. Matt Gaetz is no longer a distraction from the movement, the momentum, the positivity. And God bless him. I hope he does great and whatever he ends up doing. I'm sure Donald Trump will find a way to, either in industry or somewhere. That's fine. Whatever. Yeah, take care of him.
We'll definitely talk about Gaetz before we wrap up with you. I want to.
But as far as the Second Amendment goes, look, that's part of the whole discussion, right? I mean, I think we're all feeling pretty good that at a minimum, at a very minimum, we're going to stop the backslide of our rights as American citizens, our right to sovereignty in the borders, our right to defend ourselves, and in the context of an utterly vacant Justice Department that likes to coddle criminals while persecuting and prosecuting the victims. Until that gets turned around, I mean, we need and after forever we need to have the right to defend ourselves because the police aren't going to be there very often until the shooting's over, right? Yeah. So I mean, we all know that. So I just think it's good, and I just am optimistic that at a minimum we can stop the bleeding, literally. But more than that, I think we can just create a new culture of the old America where there's a responsibility that goes along with being a citizen, and part of that is responsible gun ownership and celebrating the right that, unlike any other country in the world, that we have to do that. And it's a precious right that needs to be cherished and protected.
It's part of the freedoms of of being an American. You have inalienable rights and personal rights to protect yourself and to live your life and to not have the government just sticking its nose in every aspect of your business. talking to Dr. Randy Tobler, and as I mentioned, Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory is also on the line with us. And Aaron, you and I have been talking about Second Amendment issues and bills and laws in the state of Missouri and across the country for years. And for me, another part of this story is it's refreshing to see a Republican or a conservative or just a person that's defending Second Amendment rights on the attack for once. I feel like we're always playing defense. I feel like we're always reacting to, bills being, proposed by Democrats that are trying to take away rights. I like this idea of protecting rights. Being aggressive. What are your thoughts in that regard, and how maybe that should be the new strategy for the Second Amendment crowd is let's stop playing defense and let's play a little offense.
Right. And I think with the supermajority now that we have with Congress, the Senate, the executive branch, and also the Supreme Court, now is the time to kind of look back, reflect on some of these laws and that have been passed, and did they work or did they not work? And if they didn't work, how do we fix it? Mm-hmm. And, President Trump can reach out to me because I've got a list of suggestions on what's working, what doesn't work, and what's on the books that they're not enforcing that if they did would make a difference.
Yeah.
And I can give you, there's no real way for me to report a suspected straw purchase. Okay. So Southern Armory, we took it upon ourselves to network with other dealers in the area and go, hey, we suspected this to be a straw purchase. This is who the people were. We're just letting you guys know. And then like, hey, we'll be on the lookout too. Same thing when we had the rash of break-ins where it was like 5-state crime spree going from Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Oklahoma, and Texas. So I guess really 6 states. And, the FBI and the ATF were scrambling and nobody was, communicating. Well, again, that dealer of firearms or that network that we developed of firearms dealers in the St. Louis area, when one of them would get broken into, they would immediately send a text out alerting all the other gun store owners, hey, they're out, they're breaking in, and then we could alert our local law enforcement agencies. So there's a lot of disconnect between the dealers that are actually following the regulations the best they can to local field office to the federal enforcement, whether that's ATF or FBI, and there's just a lot that can be improved.
Yeah.
We know statistically that firearms are not the problem. You're more likely to be killed by somebody somebody of the same race, and they're going to use a blunt object. We know that assault rifles, and I'm doing the air quotes that nobody can see, are not used in crimes. Matter of fact, the FBI combines all type of rifles. That's bolt action, lever action, break action, shotgun, semi-automatic, all into one big category, and all of those are used less than pistols.
Mm-hmm.
And pistols are used less than the blunt objects like baseball bats, and hammers and knives and all of those things.
And the stats are staggering. Like it's a minuscule amount of the gun crimes that are done with rifles. And it's funny you bring that up, and since we have Doc on the line, it makes me think of COVID. When somebody would get hit by a car with COVID, it'd be a COVID death.
People that are committing the crimes with the firearms are already prohibited. Okay.
Yeah,
so
right.
They're felonies,
exactly.
Domestic violence charges.
Yes.
Or they already have a restraining order on them, order of protection, depending on the state, what you're going to call it. Or they're not 21. And so, like, how are they getting the guns? They're getting them through straw purchases, and so we're not, like I said, we're not tracking those. The multi-pistol sales, we're tracking some of them, but not really all of them. So there's better ways to detect and track how these guns are going from, the consumer to the street level crime. And some of this is just, we've stopped enforcing crimes for minors. So now the adults know this. They drive these minors around. We see this in St. Louis all the time. They drive the minors around. They break into cars. They get guns. They get whatever else they can get out of the vehicle of value. And then they tell the kids, if you get caught, you're going to go to family court. You're going to get a slap on the wrist. You're going to be put right back out. Come 18, your record's going to be sealed. Nobody's ever going to know about it. And then the cycle repeats.
Yeah.
We have a rash of car theft. We have a rash of car break-ins, and they're being done by freaking kids in high school and junior high.
So,
And
Doc, I want to touch on a couple things that you've mentioned there, Aaron. And Doc, Aaron brings up some really good points, because every time we hear the liberal crowd come after Second Amendment rights, it's always after a terrible tragedy, and it's always the same line. It's always, when are we going to do something? What's it going to take for somebody to do something? But they don't want something to be done. Aaron just laid out a whole litany of things that can be improved on, that positive steps that can be taken to make things better and to improve our ability to prevent some crime. All they want when they say something needs to be done, they just want to take away our gun rights. They don't want to entertain any of that stuff, Doc. And I think that that mindset, it doesn't just apply to the Second Amendment, but it's something that we see across the board, and hopefully something that this Trump administration can turn the tide on in many areas. Your thoughts?
Well, I think given the rise of social media's influence way too early in young lives,
absolutely
dovetailing with the problem of the erosion of the family, and very often, if you look into the family and the young, the youth history of these kids, they don't have accountability in their lives. And I'm not trying to excuse their behavior away, but I think it starts much earlier than when the justice system finally gets a hold of them. So I know I've talked with Andrew Bailey. You have too, probably, about his hope to have some change in the juvenile laws, the criminal laws, so that maybe we need to think about rolling those back. I mean, if dads won't be dads, and dads generally the ones that I think are responsible for this accountability and tough love. Moms do a great job of that too. But if dads aren't going to be in the family, maybe the government needs to be the father earlier, and needs to, you catch a kid shoplifting, and I don't know when or if they should get their gun rights back until they've proven themselves that they can be civil members of a civil society. And I know that sounds like it's restricting things, but we've got to send special, firm, early, severe messages to what is currently called, light crime or petty crime or whatever. I mean, I think if a kid steals a jawbreaker at the checkout counter, the accountability needs to start earlier. And the first time that a young person, even looks at pulling a gun as the first way to settle a dispute, we need to let them know that's unacceptable in this society. So I think I'm for limiting gun rights, but it's for the people that are committing the crime.
Yeah.
Not for innocent people.
Yeah.
Not for law-abiding citizens.
Yeah, you can take your own gun rights away, Aaron. You can commit crimes and take your own gun rights away. I just don't want the government taking away my Second Amendment rights, preemptively.
Yeah, let me segue off of what Dr. Tolbert said. I work as a paramedic. If you've been following me anywhere in the last decade, you know that I've been involved in fire and EMS. But I work as a paramedic, and I work in North St. Louis County. And I constantly go in. This is the saddest part of my job, too. And I go into these homes, and it's an absent father, sometimes an absent mother, and the kids are being raised by the grandparents. Grandparents aren't really able to keep up or do anything. So we've got absent dad, most common, absent mom, second most common, and then grandparents raising kids. So we've broken down the family unit. The government has done this systematically through like Section 8 housing, where you couldn't be married if you wanted to get on it. You couldn't have a man living with you if you wanted to get on it.
Yeah.
And and then as you grow your family, right, without a husband, and you have multiple kids, you get more money. So now we've incentivized these families to grow up and be broken. Moms or grandparents then call 911, get police and EMS involved. We're pretty powerless to do anything because it's a parenting issue, not a hospital or police issue. Yet they're asking for the help, but we don't have necessarily the resources to give them or refer them to. We'll follow this up now again with we have a mental health crisis that is being caused again by broken families. The parents, the mom doesn't want to deal with the kids, so they turn them over to technology. Grandparents that are raising their grandkids now are doing the same thing. In our household, we're really weird, okay? And I tell other parents that when they talk about, when I see how their kids act, or they ask me how my kids act, because now I've got a son, 4 months old, going to be
Brand
5
new baby
soon.
boy. Yeah.
But I mean, you look at Piper, and that girl is absolutely sharp. I mean, unbelievably.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why. Because we have one TV in our house. When we sit down and we watch TV, we sit down and we watch TV together. Okay?
Yeah.
Piper has access to it, to technology. Either she can come and get my phone, or she can go and get a tablet. But after 1 hour, she's done.
Mm-hmm.
She has a 30-minute car ride to school, 35-minute car ride to school. So, Piper, would you like your tablet on the way to school? Yeah, I'd like to do that. Great. And then you only have a half hour left. I understand. Right?
Yeah.
And she wants on the way home. And that's it. Your technology is done for the day. You need to go outside. Okay? You need to read a book. You need to color. You need to draw. She made a locker. Okay, 7 years old, first grade, made a locker for her Barbies out of cardboard, tape, and glue. Super impressed. Okay?
Yeah.
And then made like little pictures to hang inside. I'm like, this child doesn't even have a locker at school, but knows this concept. Awesome. Okay, now what else does she do? She has responsibilities. Like, she checks the chickens. She has to put water in the refrigerator. She has to feed water the dog.
It's structure. It's structure. And that type of structure is so important. That family structure and responsibilities. However your family does it, everybody does it differently, but that is something that is so important. And I think that has been lacking at such a high level. Got a couple minutes left here. We're talking to Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory and Dr. Randy Tobler from the Randy Tobler Show. And Doc, before we run out of time, we're talking about this Second Amendment bill, the Repeal the NFA Act, coming from Missouri U.S. Congressman Eric Burleson. And what you mentioned at the top, Matt Gaetz, that's the big headline of the day nationally. Matt Gaetz stepping down from his nomination to be AG, also thrusting Missouri and Missouri lawmakers back into the national spotlight as Missouri AG Andrew Bailey is once again being discussed and reported to be on the very short list to assume that position. Now, Doc, your thoughts on the Matt Gaetz situation overall, and whether or not you'd like to see Andrew Bailey, who just won his election here overwhelmingly in the state of Missouri, maybe joining the Trump team.
Well, the tinfoil hat version of Randy wants to think that Trump planned it this way all along to have a little distraction from some of his other they could be considered controversial nominations, Linda McMahon and on and on, and it gives Gaetz an out from really worrying about being a member of Congress and having to maybe be under the jurisdiction of that report, but maybe not. I'm excited if Andrew Bailey were to get this job. You know why? It was so refreshing to see Mike Johnson come out the other day with the Nancy Mace thing where she says, she's all over this. She doesn't want that trans person in women's places in the Capitol, so-called Sarah McBride. It's very difficult for me to call a guy with junk with a woman's name. That's another story. But in the light of that, what did Mike Johnson do? He came out and said, let's be clear about this. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. And we're hearing more talk like that. And I think more and more people, I'm not hearing a lot of pushback from people that may have voted for Biden in 20 and now here. People are, I think, either capitulating and realizing that they've been really delusionally woke all along. And now they are actually awakening from a deep progressive sleep. But just plain talk like we hear from Bailey. Like, this is right, this is wrong. North is north, south is south. Right is right, wrong is wrong, crime is crime, law-abiding is law-abiding. And we're not going to start trying to, pussyfoot around with progressivism and wokeism. And I like the way Bailey talks. And I think that's what everyone, in a way, likes about Donald Trump, right? For all of his brashness and all of the misspeaks and all of the, sometimes some personalization that we'd maybe not rather have, he speaks clearly. And we just common sense is ruling again, and I hope Bailey gets a good nod. I'm confident that there would be someone that could step up into his spot, and I'm sure incoming Governor Mike Keogh would find someone to replace him. Of course, if he stays in Missouri, that's a great thing too. So it's a win-win either way.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely something that is going to continue to be a national headline with a lot of local impact that we will continue to cover, of course, here on our show. And you'll be able to also keep up with that coverage every Saturday morning, 6 a.m., 6 to 9 with the Dr. Randy Tobler Show. Also, Doc can be heard every morning on the Eagle in Columbia. Dr. Randy Tobler, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Also, Aaron Tarlow from Southern Armory. Don't forget about Southern Armory for all of your firearms needs. It really is the barber shop of the gun store world there at 9901 Watson Road. And of course, you can learn more at southernarmory.com. Dr. Tobler and Aaron Tarlow, thank you guys so much for your time this afternoon. And we are going to roll along here. Got some more headlines I want to get you updated on. We're also going to be joined by Jason Nelson from the Retro Nerds and Somebody Love, the Queen Tribute Band, because we are getting ever so close to our show, our concert coming up November 30th out at Diamond Music Hall. The Queen Tribute, Somebody to Love, and my band, Tony Columbo and the North County Sound Machine, that's the name of the band, featuring the return of Katie Fitzpatrick. That show is on November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. We're going to talk to Jason about that and more next here on Columbo and Company.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
We just had our buddy Dave Sylvester from Gutter Pros in studio with us yesterday. Great conversation. Always just pick up a lot of great information when Dave is on with us. So if you missed that conversation, go and check it out on the podcast. Gutter Pros, of course, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Gutter repair, new gutter installation, siding repair, new siding installation. They do it all at Gutter Pros. And the main piece of our conversation yesterday had to do, of course, with their other big service that is so important this time of year, and that is leaf protection. The leaves have been just everywhere recently. And as Dave pointed out yesterday, you'll notice in certain neighborhoods or in certain areas or with certain types of trees, there's still a whole lot of leaves up there that have not fallen yet. So if you don't have the proper leaf protection on your home and you don't live in the desert or in a field somewhere, this is something that you need to have, because if your gutters get clogged up and you don't want to go up there regularly and clean them out by hand, they get clogged up, and that creates a problem that gets worse and worse over time and can turn into something very costly and damaging down the line. And it's so easy just to get that leaf protection on your gutters, and the team to do it is the Gutter Pros. They're absolutely the best across the board when it comes to anything you need up there with your gutters, the fascia, the soffit, the siding. They do it all. They also offer free estimates. So if you think you have a problem or you have a project in mind and you just want to get all that information, what's it going to take? How much is it going to cost? You can get all of that information, all of that peace of mind, and then make the best decision going forward for you and your home and your budget. And it's cost you nothing at that point. Gutter Pros, just absolutely the best. So if you need to contact them, do so now at 314-656-7195, or just go to gutterpros.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Disney has a children's cartoon series, Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur. Well, they're not going to air an episode titled Gatekeeper. It features a story praising a boy identifying as a girl and is battling to play on the high school volleyball team. One of the writers says, this project is getting canned because Trump won the election. Good. Anyway, Brooklyn, the transgender character, is telling others, I want to play on the girls' volleyball team, and they all agree that's a good idea. But the coach locks them all up in a room, won't let them out. The coach is described as an evil, trans-hating coach. And unless they get a magic weapon, they cannot get out. He will not be able to play. You see where Disney has gone with this kind of stuff? Walt Disney once stated, our greatest natural resource is the minds of our children. And everything he did, from Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, was to bring laughter. He also understood our children are vulnerable and that laughter is better than propaganda. In other words, filling their young minds with trash.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Question: do you know what vermiculite is? It is an insulation in the attics of hundreds of thousands of homes and public buildings. Looks like kitty litter, but often contains asbestos. Wellington Environmental is the largest company in the Midwest that can remove that hazard for you. Wellington has what is called the General, a powerful industrial vacuum that can suck vermiculite out of the attic. Hang on, there's something else you should know. Many of you might qualify for up to a $4,000 rebate. You should at least contact Wellington to see if you qualify. And here's something else. Wellington arrives at the time they give you, not sometime within 4 hours. 314-644-4930, 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com, WellingtonSTL.com, Wellington Environmental, your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
The Republican Party of the City of St. Louis wishes you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, no matter how you celebrate the season. Join the City of St. Louis Republicans for their annual holiday party, December 18th at PH Rose. There'll be a silent auction, raffle, and plenty of holiday cheer. Go to stl-gop.com to get your tickets and learn more. The City of St. Louis Republicans wish you a joyous holiday season and a prosperous new year.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Thursday on the Allman Report, Jimmy Carafano and the treachery of the Biden administration over Ukraine and Russia. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
Don't go changing to try and please me. You never let me down before. Don't imagine.
Welcome back to Columbo and Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Man, what a packed show today. If you've missed any of the conversation, make sure that you are subscribed to our podcast so that never happens. We put this show out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day on basically every podcast platform. So wherever your favorite place to get podcasts is, just make sure you're subscribed to Columbo and Company. And it's the best way to make sure you never miss anything here on the show. All right. A lot of drama, a lot of emotions, a lot of seriousness going on in this world. And we all could use a little fun. We could use a little. You're on the camera. You're on.
I know.
So yeah. And Jason Nelson from the Somebody to Love Queen Tribute Band is here in the studio with us to talk about and remind everybody about a great event coming up to get away from all this madness, have some fun, enjoy some great music.
At least hit the pause button for the night, right?
Party it up a little bit.
Baby.
Diamond Music Hall, November 30th. Somebody to Love, the Queen Tribute Band, Jason's Queen Tribute Band, Duran and Duran, a tribute to, you guessed it, Duran Duran, and my band, Tony Columbo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick. Going to be bringing
Black
you
Velvet,
a great night.
Cult of Personality.
Let's
I
go,
can't wait
baby.
to see these songs.
Let's go.
Performed.
Yes.
Let's go,
I can't
baby.
wait to see the continued evolution of Somebody to Love and the stage show and
as a band. Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. We are in our happy place right now. We have
dude.
had great rehearsals.
Yeah.
The vibe in the room is we're locked.
It's gonna
and ready, baby.
It's gonna be awesome. We've talked about this as we've got closer and closer to this show. Somebody to Love, Jason's Queen tribute band, is not only just musically right on top of it, but the performance, the lighting, the videos, the stage show in general. I mean, it's just an awesome show. We are so happy to be a part of this night. Can't wait to see the Duran Duran tribute as well. It's just going to be a great party and at a great place. Diamond Music Hall is an awesome. We've got some great venues in the St. Louis area, and we've lost some, like the Great Mississippi Nights, but Diamond Music Hall has just fallen right in there into the rotation of just
St.
great
Charles County.
Yeah, and it's out there in St. Charles County and St. Peters, which is great because it gives an option out that direction for folks out there as well, and it just fits in perfectly with the St. Louis music scene and the vibe.
Like
It's just another great venue.
So many people are involved in this particular show.
Yeah.
This year. And this is the one show Somebody to Love is doing in the St. Louis region for
Mhm.
2024. So come on out, see
Yeah.
it. Because
Yeah.
you won't see it for another, who knows? I mean, we may take a 7-month, 8-month hiatus and come back next year at the same time. But Michael Absher, Johnny Cruzy, the two owners of Diamond Music Hall, they have done it right in the heart of St. Charles. And this room, they have a capacity that is far larger than the ticket sales that are going to be capped, because they wanted to keep the room comfortable. They wanted to have places for people to set their drinks down and sit if they want,
and space to maybe move around.
Yeah, move around.
If you want to do a little booty shaking or whatever.
If you want to be by the stage, it's capable. You know, you can you can move around the room. Other venues, you would have a challenging time doing that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. If you want a good place to sit, but still have a great view and be able to hear and be totally immersed in the music coming from the stage, you can. If you want to stand and dance, you can. You're not like, you don't have to be isolated or off to the side if you want to do any of those things. You can do it all at Diamond Music Hall. Jason, you mentioned that this is the only time this whole year that Somebody to Love is playing in the St. Louis area. Katie and I do the same thing with our band. We don't play very often. This is only the second time we played in 2024, and the first one was in January. So it's been nearly the entire year. And I think that's another thing, at least for me, that it makes this so exciting, is because it is special. This isn't a show that you can just see every weekend. So it's going to be a blast. We also got to mention the charity Kids Vision for Life St. Louis. Check them out. Katie was here in studio with Jason and I a couple weeks ago talking about this charity that she works with very closely. Kids Vision for Life St. Louis is some of the proceeds from this show is benefiting that great charity. You can learn more about that charity, learn more about this show, and purchase tickets to the show all at the Diamond Music Hall website. And thanks to great sponsors like Weber Chevrolet, we can even now announce a very cool discount. So tell people how they can take advantage of a special discount on tickets to the show on November 30th.
So if you are so inclined, take your phone out, steer on over to diamondmusichall.com, click on the event. It will take you to the ticket page, and you enter promo code, lowercase, all one word, Weber, WEBER, 2024, Weber 2024. And that gets you a discount on
tickets,
any tickets, be it if you want to be right by
there's stage. Various levels of tickets for the show. So you can
have 3 other friends, you can get a table of 4.
Absolutely.
It just depends on what direction you want to go with that. But it's a significant savings.
Yeah.
And it, while supplies last,
right.
Weber Chevrolet has been an integral part of our success.
Yeah.
Putting this production on for years.
Mm-hmm.
Skip and his lovely wife have supported the band, been at the shows through the years. You have been amazing, a major advocate.
Well, it's just
and now you're involved in the show.
It's just a fun thing to be a part of. And I've
Yeah,
always been honored to be a part of the shows, whether I'm hosting the evening or if our band is able to play. And thanks to Weber Chevrolet, as you mentioned, Skip and Lori Weber, they have been just tremendous supporters of the local music scene in general. These, my band, your bands specifically, but across the board, just, they love and support live local music, and they put their money where their mouth is.
Right.
And it's just awesome. Weber Chevrolet is the best. Also, got to thank another great sponsor, Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood. Another great part of the community and a great place to take advantage of this time of year with all of the eating that people are going to be doing.
Thanksgiving,
Get
baby.
yourself some bread, cookies, muffins, whatever it may be from Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood. Another great sponsor of this show. So again, Diamond Music Hall website, diamondmusichall.com. November 30th is the show. Weber 2024 is your promo code if you want to save a little bit of money. And if people want to keep up with other everything that you're doing, Somebody to Love, the Retro Nerds, and all of your other gigs, what's the best way to do so?
On all the socials, you just pull up Jason Nelson Band or the Retro Nerds, and you'll
the Retro
connect.
Nerds, another can't go wrong if you're looking for some great live
tomorrow
music.
night.
Yeah,
Friday, November 22 at Old Rock House. I'm doing a Who tribute. The
There
kids
you
are
go.
all right.
I love it.
I know. There's a Pink
love
Floyd band opening.
Great
It's
stuff.
going to be a great show. But yeah, there's a lot going on. It's my busiest time of year.
Yeah, it's great. And it's great to see the St. Louis music scene just back and firing at all cylinders, and can't wait to be a part of it. November 30th, Diamond Music Hall, diamondmusichall.com to get your tickets and get more information to see Somebody to Love, Jason's Queen tribute show, Duran and Duran, the Duran tribute, and then my band, Tony Columbo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick. Get your tickets and use that Weber 2024 promo code to save money at diamondmusichall.com. All right, we're back tomorrow at 2. Keep it here. The O'Reilly Report next.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every week yet on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping